Hello, everyone. On International Women's Day, WDI USA held demonstrations in solidarity with the women and girls of Afghanistan and to bring attention to the obliteration of their rights under Taliban rule. Events were held in Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, California, and New York City. The New York City event was held in collaboration with activist group Roar Women New York City. At the demonstrations, women read aloud testimonies of Afghan women shared with us by WDI Afghanistan country contact Yalbano, detailing their experiences under the Taliban's restrictive fundamentalist mandates. Roar Women also did a fantastic write-up of the joint action in New York. This month's webinar, scheduled for March 22nd, will further amplify the voices of the women of Afghanistan. On March 1st, at the USA Track and Field Open Masters Championships held in New York, male athlete Sadie/Camden Schreiner ran solo in the women's 400-meter race after the other female entries declined to compete against him. As Coach Blade remarked in an X post, the man ran alone and it counts as the women's result. Shame on you, US ATF and meet directors. Sadie has been allowed to deprive deserving female athletes of their achievements for some time. During his years at the Rochester Institute of Technology, he shattered women's records in multiple track and field events. Yet, as Riley Gaines notes, when he won the 400-meter race in the women's category for RIT in 2024, he would have finished last amongst the other boys by 2 full seconds. And as a high school athlete competing on the boys' team, he was ranked in 19th place. California Governor and presumed 2028 presidential hopeful Gavin Newsom made quite a splash last week when, during his newly launched podcast, he appeared to have changed his position on the issue of men and boys competing in women's sports by agreeing with conservative guest Charlie Kirk that it's deeply unfair. However, Newsom then went on to suggest that there needs to be a way to balance fairness with the mental health of these young men, stating that there's also a humility and a grace. You know that these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety, and depression. So both things I can hold in my hand. In its commentary on the topic, Wolf referred to his words as nothing but lip service to prevailing public sentiment, asserted that it's not enough to hide behind talk of fairness while letting women's rights be trampled across California, and reminding the governor that actions speak louder than words. I recently learned of an initiative currently underway in Washington state intended to capitalize on overwhelming public opposition to boys and men competing in girls and women's sports. As there is no state law spelling out that Washington allows males and girls sport, the initiative's focus is on getting school districts across the state to adopt resolutions in support of amending the current Washington Interscholastic Activities Association gender identity participation policy to protect girls' sports. Thus far, 23 of the 273 school districts in Washington have taken action, and the goal is to get enough districts on board with Amendments 7 and 8 to impact the WIAA's representative assembly coming up in April, when they are expected to be voted on. This is all discussed in Jenny Poyer Ackerman's Transmuted podcast, published on March 8th, which includes a link to the Save Girls Sports Washington call to action detailing the plan. In a recent Substack post, Bernard Lane reports that last month, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit upheld a Massachusetts school policy allowing concealment of a child's social transition from parents. That policy was challenged as breaching a constitutional guarantee of the parental right to guide and bring up children, including the medical/mental health treatment that is social transition. However, the court was not persuaded. that what it characterized as mere use of gender-affirming pronouns or a gender-affirming name amounted to medical or even clinical treatment. For those interested, Glenna Goldis has posted a detailed thread on the decision. And finally, last week, the ACLU filed another lawsuit against Trump's Defending Women EO. The suit specifically challenges a new requirement by the National Endowment for the Arts, NEA, that grant applicants certify they will not use federal funds to promote gender ideology or risk losing federal funding. In the case, the ACLU represents several arts organizations impacted by the requirement, asserts its unconstitutionality, and seeks to stop the NEA from implementing or giving effect to the executive order. That's all I have today. Thank you.